Hello ladies and gents, so I am back to YouTube. I've got a new camera, so hopefully the video quality will be slightly better. New premises for Whitney, as you can see in the background. She's looking pretty sorry for herself, but this is where she's going to be staying for the foreseeable future. So I've moved it to my other half's dad's premises. He runs a company which isn't too far away from where we're now living, and he was kind enough to let me keep the 180 in his unit. So the 180 is here, and he has got a Californian Type 2 crew cab camper, which is pretty cool. He rebuilt the engine on it, it's lowered slightly. Other than that, it's just all nice, like retro stuff happening with it, which is pretty good. So the aim with this video is try and keep it as short as I possibly can, just so I can cram as much information in it as I possibly can. The video is going to be about the Audi R8 coil packs and how I go about making the loom for an Audi R8 coil pack. This is the first time that I'm ever going to do it, and I'm doing it on a video, so you know, you can hopefully see where I fuck up, you can see where I've done it right, you know, you can see room for improvement if you want to, like on your own install. But I understand there's a few people out there that are trying to, you know, sell these looms. They're trying to find a gap in the market where they'll be able to sell an Audi R8 coil pack loom like conversion for an SR20 or a CA or an RB or whatever. Well, in my opinion, that's just ridiculous. The SR20 coil packs use 3 wires, you know, out of each coil pack. Obviously, they have a separate igniter. So in the video, I'll be talking about the bypass and the igniter as well. But all of this is just little bits and bobs that I've picked up and that I've read off of forums. So at the end of the day, we're going to find out if the car starts or not before I rip all the wiring out of it anyway, because I'll be removing all of the shit that I don't need out of the wiring loom, relays, fuses, whatever. Relocating the fuse boxes, because I'll be tubbing the front arches of the 180 over the winter, repainting the engine bay. So one of the things I want to do over the winter is get rid of the old SR20 coil packs. You know, they're old, they're hard to get hold of, and they're expensive to buy now. Whereas the Audi R8 ones, which are these ones here, you know, they're £25 each, and you know, they're readily available. Yeah, so I got the 4 Audi R8 coil packs. I got the 4 plugs, the VAG plugs. I got a bunch of wire. There's another load of wire over there on the bench if I need it. I've got some cloth loom tape, and it's some stuff that you can get's like furry. I've had it before, it's shit. This is good stuff. This is actually like a fabric, you know, like a woven cloth tape, which is really good. It's really strong and it's flexible as well, so that's good and it doesn't perish. I got some heat shrinks, just generic size heat shrinks in a little selection box. And I got some of this. This is 8mm, I believe, and it's it's just a sleeve, really. It's like a braided sleeve to go over wire and looms and whatnot. So I better try that out. This is like a standard like 8mm size, and it goes. You can compress it, and it goes bigger, like 10, 12mm, whatever. Or you can pull it out and, you know, stretch it out, and it will go down to like 5mm, something like that. Okay, so first things first is the SR20 coil pack loom, which I was kind of surprised at how shit it's actually made. Like for a factory wiring harness. All the factory coils, the factory SR20 coils, they all run 3 pins. They run a positive, an earth, and a signal, basically. Like from the ECU to get in the trigger. All done from the cam angle sensor, as far as I know. On the SR20 coil pack loom, you have all the earths that come off the coil packs, off the plugs. They all go into one, like, shitly crimped, like soldered, all the wires manky and horrible. They all go into one ground, which is grounded on the back of your SR20 cylinder head, like right up against the bulkhead. Then you have the coil pack number 1, first coil pack, which has got the signal cable on it, the signal wire, which is the one that you would normally hook up to with a timing light to get your timing sorted. I'm not going to bother with any of that, because every time I get my car mapped, the guy that maps my car says that it's a bad idea to go off of a wire, because you can get like interference and whatnot. He runs a separate lead off the top of the spark plug, a HT lead, small one, that goes into the coil pack, and then he hooks his timing light directly to that HT lead. So he gets a clear signal all the time when he's timing the car. So that I'm not going to bother with having any loops of wire hanging out to try and, you know, time it yourself. So with regards to the connector on the SR20 coil pack, I've heard from, like, on the forums and stuff, people have said about running a separate live feed through a relay or whatever to the coil packs, the new ones. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to run everything as factory as I possibly can. So I'm going to use the factory power that comes from the engine harness into the coil pack harness. And the only bit of this old loom that I'm going to need is this plug. So there's 6 pins in here. There's the ground, there's the positive, and there is 4 trigger leads for the coil packs. Now these coil packs, the Audi R8 ones, have got inbuilt igniters, which means that you eliminate the factory SR20 igniter, which can also be a problem on SR20s. They're getting harder to find second hand, and they're expensive brand new, so it's another reason why to get at the VAG coil packs with inbuilt igniters. So I've cut the majority of the shit off of the factory SR20 coil pack loom so that I can see, you know, what goes where and what does what. I've got a crap load of wire, so I'm just going to use red for the constant positive, black for all the grounds, yellow and blue for the signal wires. And hopefully that way I won't end up getting like too confused by it. A couple of little bits of insulation tape here and there will help me be able to identify what the fuck's going on where. And that's pretty much it. So now I've got all of the shit off of this SR20 coil pack loom. I can see that there's on the plug the black with, is it a white, is it a yellow? Fuck knows, it's too old. I'd say yellow. The black with the yellow stripe down it. It might be different, obviously, different variants of SR might be slightly different wire. But they are, you know, that wire goes into 3 whites and 1 black with a yellow trace. So they are the powers for the coil packs. They will go into the middle pin on all the plugs for the coil packs. And that's pretty much that one. All the red wires here with, you've got a red with a green trace, red with a white trace, and a constant red, solid red. So they are your triggers for 2, 3 and 4 coil packs. And then you've got the last one, which is split into 2 wires in the plug. This wire is the one that you would loop into for timing your SR. That's the one that comes from number 1 coil pack, and they've got some horrible little crimpy thing on here into 2 wires. All of the negatives across the whole loom, they are all of them are the black wires. They come from, if you're looking at the plug head on, they go the black wire in that 3rd pin, and they all go into one horrible little crimp which looks like it's got a smidge of solder on it, and that all goes down a little flimsy wire into an earth as well. So as far as I can see, the SR coil pack loom is pretty straightforward, it's pretty simple. So all I'm going to do is just make some notes of what goes where on the plug, like the signal wires and all that kind of stuff, because if I make a note of it now, then I won't have to try and retrace my steps later on down the line, and you know, when I end up fucking it up, which is bound to happen, and then at least I'll be able to get an idea of what I'm doing. I wanted to be able to source pins for this plug because I don't like the idea of using it like as a plug with, you know, little tails on the end. I didn't want to have to solder. I don't like soldering anything on car wiring looms. It's not a good idea. You know, the amount of stress that's caused to the actual wire itself, like during the soldering process, and the amount of heat that you put into it, it's just an unreliable connection. It makes the wire very brittle, and it can break, and it can cause all kinds of issues. So I do a fair amount of wiring at work anyway, on commercial vehicles, so like big HGVs, vans, all that kind of stuff, and we never solder anything.
It's not an industry standard anymore to solder connections anywhere on a loom.
As you can see, apologies for my scruffy handwriting. Solid red goes to the signal for number 3 coil pack. The white with a red trace goes to coil pack 2 for the signal. Red with a green trace, signal 4 coil pack. And then there's a solid black wire, which is signal 1, and that's the one that goes splits off into 2 separate wires into the plug. Then there's all the whites, all 3 whites, solid whites, and then there's 1 black with a yellow trace. All of those go into a black with a yellow trace in the plug, and they are all the positives. And then all the grounds obviously go into 1 earth, like that, which goes on the back of your head, going on the back of your cylinder head. So I can chop that plug off now, throw that away, and then I know where I'm at.
Yeah, so pair of side cutters, plug, and I'm just going to cut it off as high up as I can, chop that off, get rid of that because I don't need it anymore. The first 2 wires that I'm going to deal with on the plugs is the 12 volt constant and the 12 volt ground. So they are opposite ends of the spectrum. So yeah, number 1 is 12 volt and number 4 on the plug is 12 volt ground. So they're the ones that I'm going to do first. Obviously in an ideal world, tools for this job, you're going to need a pair of side cutters, you're going to need wire strippers, you're going to need crimpers. I've only got a pair of side cutters because all my other electrical tools are at work and I forgot to bring them home, so that was handy. So that's all the grounds in on number 1 in all the plugs. So now moving on to same process, you know, as the others. A little bit of heat shrink I like to use the little rubbers, go on first, put the little crimps on, and I do the same thing for all the grounds, which all the grounds are going to be black and they all go into pin number 4 on the plug. So that'll be the next job.
Say hello, Cobbs.
Hello, Cobbs.
So we've got the old coil packs in the car. So I'm going to get a bit of insulation tape, wrap it around here, and then I need to get all these grounds together so that I can connect them into 1 wire rather than there being 4. And I didn't have enough different coloured wire, so I've got two yellows for signals, 2 blues for signals, and then 1 of each has got a bit of insulation tape on the end of it so I know which one's which. And then all I've got to do is wrap it all up. Wrap it up in some of that nice little Loom braid, put some heat shrink on it, and then it'll be good to go.
I'll just wrap a little bit of insulation tape around all the bundle of wires, and then I can start to tidy them all up and cut my earths off. So I just cut the earth here. Do I? Do they? Cut the earths there, and then now all I've got is my powers and my signal wires. There's still the signal earth to go in on point number 3, but I didn't have enough black wire, which is why I've cut all them off. And now I've put the insulation tape around there as well. That will mean that all the plugs stay in like the same length apart from the coil packs. Hopefully I won't have to come back to the car and keep taking it on and off the car. Okay, so this is where shit gets a bit messy. I've got all of the earths that I cut to length on the car. They're all on there. You know, like that gives you the spacing then of the coil pack. So I've cut a bit of the braid off, and then you've got the task of kind of putting the braid on each coil pack tail, and then because all the earths are going to be joined, put the braid on first, so then when you join all the earths together at the end, you know, it's all like in, you know, all flows in a nice line, rather than what I actually just did, which was connect all the earths together and then realise I couldn't get the braid on. Which is all well and good if you just want to use like the fabric Loom tape and you want to wrap it up in that, but I want to give this braid a go. This is kind of where I'm at the minute. Everything's just a bit of a mess, load of pigtail of wire. Wait for that to go cold and that will go hard, and that's basically what I've got. So you can see like the colours of the wires that are coming out of the plug. You've got the sheath over it like that, and then I've got enough room to be able to join the earths together at the ends, and then I've obviously got the other earths coming off, and the power wire and the trigger wire. So yeah, I've just got to do that another 3 times, and then we're getting there. Right, so the next stage is to remove the igniter, which mine was bolted on a slightly different bracket, because the normal home on an S-body for an igniter chip is like round here on the turret, but it was right next to the turbo on the exhaust housing, so I relocated it round to here. So there's already, one of these plugs has already been extended, so I've got to cut that extension wire out, and then I'll actually be able to get rid of the plugs and bypass the igniter. So it's these two plugs that are down in here, these are the ones that I'm going to be getting rid of. They've got to be joined together. I understand that there's a ground in here on the side of the igniter. There's 5 pins one side and only 4 the other. The 4 pins on the other side, they correspond to the coil packs themselves, the signals for the coil packs themselves. And the 5 here, there's obviously a ground in the middle which grounds the ignition amplifier. But now that our R8 coil packs have got ignition amplifiers in them, we aren't needing this chip anymore, so we don't need the ground either. So that is a surplus ground, so I'm going to cut that and isolate it. Also, I'd like to point out is if you're doing this job yourself and you're going to take it on yourself, I highly recommend it as well. It's a bit of faffing, but it's a good little job. Obviously this here is the side that's been extended to bring it round to sit here. Was sat around there, I had to extend the wires before anyway. But what I would recommend is that you leave both sides of the igniter plugged in and cut one wire and connect one wire at a time. Or you could note down each individual wire and then follow it off of your own little wiring diagram. Right, so now I've just left that plug with the ground on it. I've just left that on there for a minute. I'm not going to bother isolating it right now. Like, this whole engine loom's coming out, like I said, and I'm going to, get rid of move all the fuse boxes, delete some of the relays and stuff like that. So this wire in here will actually get redone. So at the moment, all I've done is just use a couple of little red heat shrink crimps. I just crimped them on, heat shrinked them on there, so they're all joined up, they're all together. That's pretty much good to go. Obviously, on the igniter itself, it's pretty self-explanatory on here. You actually have, if you can see, let me see if it will focus. Yeah, you can see that. It actually has I1 to I4, one side, with the ground being in the middle there, and on the other side it has E1 to E4. And basically you just connect from 1 to 1, 2 to 2, 3 to 3, 4 to 4. You do that across, the wires in the bay, and that basically eliminates this igniter. So obviously, like I said, the ground one we no longer need, so you just have to isolate that. Right, so coil pack loom is basically done. All of these, the plugs for the coil packs, they're done. They all come into kind of like a little mess in the middle that I've got to tidy up and loom tape around that, so that's nice and strong. I've now got all the wires here. I've got the power wire there. I've got the signal wires 1, 2, 3 and 4 for each cylinder. I've got the earth here which is going on the back of the head. That's already terminated, that's ready to be done. I've got the plug here that's got to be spliced in for the engine loom, and I've got another ground here off the coil packs, which is the 12 volt ground off the coil packs, which is going to go to the chassis. So now it's just a case of matching up these wires, which I already had written down from earlier on my notepad. Now it's just a case of matching up the wires on the plug to the wires on here. Obviously I've already made notes of what the wires were, what the wires on the plug were. I've already told you about those earlier on. And now I've just got to splice those against these, like whatever its corresponding wire is for each coil pack. And then hopefully after I've done that, when I go plug it in on the car, I've just got to work out what length I want this ground to be that's going to the chassis, because at the minute it's just mad mess of wire. Work out how long I want that one to be, and then after I've done that, then hopefully I will plug it in, and on the first turn of the key the car will start. But knowing me and my luck, that probably won't happen, but we can all live in hope. Right, so that's basically the whole loom done. Plugs on. all the connectors for the thingies. I've just got this little bit of a mess in the middle to sort out with a bit of Loom tape. One thing I did forget to do, which I didn't really want to forget, was put heat shrink over the end here, so I could heat shrink it and have all the plugs neat and tidy like I did on the plugs. So that's kind of annoying. Just got to go in to the car and see how long this earth needs to be to go onto the chassis, and then I'll wrap that in put that in some of the sleeve, the braided sleeve, and then terminate that to a ring terminal so that I can put a bolt for it onto whatever. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's done, and then I'll go inside and see if it actually works. So that's last ground terminated with a nice bit of the braid over it. Braid on that, ground to the back of the head, all braided for the plug, and a nice little Loom tape around the middle just to tidy the middle up where it all came together, and then the 4 plugs for the coil packs. So there we go. Audi R8 coil packs in. Loom could do with a little bit of tidying, but like I said, I'm not going to worry about that too much for a minute. I'll drop that catch tank fitting back on. Lovely. Hopefully, she hasn't been started in a couple of weeks, but hopefully she'll fire right up. Ignition, switch on, fuel pump, make sure she's out of gear. There we go. That was honestly was the first time that I've started the car in I think 2 weeks, and I have not done any test runs. That's the first time I've made that Loom. I followed some simple instructions. Hopefully I've made a tidy enough job of it. Anyone else out there wants to make a tidier job, that's up to you. I apologise for the noise of Whitney at the moment, but yeah, she's running. I understand, obviously that's the first start up and the car's still yet to be properly mapped. It only got a little bit of a map on it last time before it blew an oil seal out the front, the crank seal. So obviously when I actually get it on the dyno it might make a little bit of difference, but I honestly can tell you from doing that coil pack conversion, the difference straight away in the start up of the car. It started up a lot faster than it used to, that's for sure. And also it is actually idling smoother than what it used to. So far, all thumbs up from me. Thank you for watching this video. Obviously I've done this on my Sr20, but I know that the R8 coil pack can be used on the 1JZ and the 2JZ. So if anyone out there's got a 1J or a 2J and you want to do the R8 coil pack conversion, everything that I said about from the coil packs sort of backwards, wiring wise, it will be identical. The only thing that you'll have to change is obviously the plug wiring will be different on a JZ wiring loom. Also, overall costs of the R8 coil pack conversion. The R8 coil packs I managed to get a set of 4 for like £99 or something, UK. The wire, obviously I got free from work, so that's neither here nor there for me on wiring. It didn't cost me any money. The connectors I think were £4.30 I think each for the connectors. The sleeving was around £5. I got that off of eBay. Obviously heat shrinks as well. Heat shrinks aren't that expensive. You can buy a selection box. Again, on eBay. eBay's fine. They were £5 again I think. And factor in as well wire. I think around 10 metres of wire is normally like £3, £4, something like that. Obviously the things that I would change if I did it again, especially on this car, is I would have made sure that I had other colours available wire-wise. It was all thin wall automotive wire. Obviously I had red and black for my positive and my grounds. Being that the R8 coil packs use another ground from the coil pack, I would strongly recommend that you run a black wire with a white trace, something like that, or a brown wire for the earths. And with regards to the signal cables, I had black and yellow, and I had to put a little bit of insulation tape on the end of 2 of them so that I could distinguish what cylinder they were for. If I was doing it again, or I was doing it for somebody else, I would definitely recommend using a blue, a yellow, an orange and a green for argument's sake, just so that you didn't get confused now or further down the line. If you have any issues with your loom, it'll be a hell of a lot easier to trace back rather than having to go through and continuity check the wiring loom. If you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment down in the comments section. It'd be much appreciated. If you've enjoyed the video, give it a like. Obviously give my channel a subscribe. Also feel free to check out the website. It's www.teamhangingloose.bigcartel.com. There's t-shirts, stickers on there. There's also a couple of lock mods for S-bodies. I will be updating the website in due course with the new lock kits if you want to check those out. I'll hopefully have some detailed pictures and whatnot on those, and when I actually get them back on my car, then I'll be able to show you a video of them on the car, what features they have, you know, all that kind of stuff. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.